Well, welcome back to the program. One of the US Navy's 4 guided missile nuclear submarines has emerged in Australia. USS Ohio arrived earlier this week as part of an ongoing deployment in the West Pacific. The submarine was in Brisbane, and our very own investigations reporter Jonathan Lea was fortunate enough to be given a tour earlier today. He joins me now. Jonathan, welcome. Before we get to talking about your conversations with top US Navy brass, and I'm very keen to hear their thoughts on AUKUS and if they gave anything away, but just tell me generally about this nuclear-powered submarine you're on today.
Phenomenal piece of kit, the Ohio-class submarine. We're looking at something which is 30 metres longer than the Virginia-class submarines that we normally talk about. We're talking about roughly 160-odd people. The firepower, with the Virginias, we often talk about 10 or 12 Tomahawk missiles. What can a Tomahawk missile do? It can hit something 1,600 kilometres away. So basically, in the Brisbane River, you can reach Melbourne or Adelaide. These Ohio-class submarines really are the apex predator. They have more than 150 Tomahawk missiles. So it hasn't been confirmed, but it's thought that one of these Ohio-class submarines was basically what struck the Iranian nuclear weapon sites first, which opened the salvo with around 24 Tomahawk missiles. Incredible. The one we were on today was formerly one of America's ICBM submarines. They're intercontinental ballistic missile subs. It's been converted into what is effectively a submarine platform that can travel the world, meet any adversary head on, go into harm's way, and have more Tomahawk missiles than really Australia has in our own arsenal. So 14 of those, and America also has four submarines which they use for their intercontinental ballistic fleet. So extraordinary. And that's on top of their strike submarines, their attack submarines.
You had a chance to chat with their commanding officer, Eric Hunter. Let's have a listen to some of that conversation.
We operate undetected with great capability that, again, being undetected means that we're unlocated. And therefore, it keeps your adversaries at bay in terms of, like I mentioned, even in peacetime, there's still geopolitical influence with that.
What does that give Australia? Because obviously we've acquired your Tomahawks and we're also hopefully getting the Virginia-class submarines.
I think it's a force multiplier, quite frankly. Again, this is we're working together, we operate alongside each other, we learn from each other, we share. That cooperation is building a tremendous partnership and alliance that really is an asymmetric advantage against our adversaries.
Of course, the thing I'm really interested about hearing, Jonathan, is what the US Navy brass are saying regarding AUKUS. Obviously, that's our keen interest here. And you had a chance to talk to the Rear Admiral.
Do you want me to tell you what I honestly think?
Yeah,
I think we're in big trouble. I think when it comes to...
What gave you that impression?
Well, we've been talking about AUKUS for more than 12 months, seriously now, seriously. It goes back a couple of years, obviously, to Scott Morrison. I think when we looked at AUKUS originally behind the scenes, it was about doing a deal with the British to get in on their future submarine. And from what Boris Johnson told me in an interview we did for our documentary, Into the Deep, he said Joe Biden saw the opportunity to also sell Australia's submarines. I don't think AUKUS was originally intended for us to get American Virginia classes, and I think that has somehow become part of the mix. America right now is trying to work out how to give us the submarines that they have agreed to between 3 and 5, starting from 2032. At the moment, they are starting to go backwards with their own submarine numbers when they need to increase. They want to get to 65 attack submarines. They currently have 49. That's fewer than they want and they need. And they have to find a way to give us 3 or 5. So they're in a valley, which was caused by the Cold War. At the time, they're trying to ramp up production. They're at a rate of 1.3 now. They need to be at 2.3 a year. They don't have enough workers. They don't have enough welders, electricians. They're struggling.
Did you get a chance to put this to the Rear Admiral and what sort of indication, if any, did he give you?
So the Rear Admiral was formerly in charge of delivering in Australia. He's now been promoted. I asked him what the chance was we were going to get them. His answer, while polite, was less than inspiring.
I have a very large sense of pride in all the work that we've done together with our Australian counterparts and the amount of resolve to do the things that we've been tasked to do.
I want to point out that Lincoln Reichstag, the Rear Admiral there, is an incredibly nice, polite, humble man. So he wasn't rude, but that's his way of saying, A, I can't talk about it. But if he really wanted to say, guys, I've got full confidence, I'm sure he would have said, I've got full confidence. Mark Hammond is our Chief of Navy. He's got the job of knowing we need these submarines, otherwise we have an extraordinary capability gap that can't protect our sea lanes, let alone the nation. This is his response.
In talking of moonshots, you are talking about the nation that put the man on the moon in about a 6-year period, right, from start to finish. So we're talking about doubling production of a known capability with a known design. So I think let's just give them a go.
A final thought that I'm going to leave you with. The American admiral, who looks like being the chief of Navy effectively for America, has testified in the United States a couple of days ago. He talked about AUKUS. He says the delivery pace is not where it needs to be to deliver effectively on Pillar 1, that it's going to require a transformational improvement, not a 10 or 20% transformational, and we need to start looking at how other partners can help America to deliver the ships they need. Is it time that Australia puts its hand up and says, can we have a moonshot? Can you give us the blueprint and we can see what parts we can make to help with AUKUS? It's not something our government would want to do, even though it would talk up job creation. We are in almost desperate territory now when it comes to AUKUS. Does America want to give us these subs to take away from their own capability, or perhaps are they better giving us long-range strike bombers, something like the new, I think it's the B-21, which potentially could do this for us, and they could keep the submarines and patrol our waters for us. Dark times when it comes to AUKUS. There'll be a lot of positive talk on our end, but what does America really want to do? We're about to find out. I think Donald Trump's going to play hardball. Yeah,
I'm really fascinated to hear your insights, because having the chance to speak with, as I said, top US Navy brass, and you'd think they'd give you something, knowing how critical this is for our nation's defence and knowing how much we're talking about it. You'd think at a presser here they'd give some indication or a little bit of encouragement, but they gave you nothing, to the point where you've come away thinking we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, and look, we looked at the Japanese sub. We knew at the time that wasn't good enough. We looked at the French. We found out as technology improved, that was going to leave us in trouble. We've gone to the only option we really have here, and that doesn't arrive until 2032. We need to protect sea lanes. We're a trading nation.
Well, Jonathan Lea, I'm glad you had a good time on the sub. I just wish you'd come here with a bit more good news rather than just that you had a good time today.
Incredible piece of kit.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, mate.